Hello YouTube viewers, welcome to my show Science Thursday. In today's episode we're going to continue our look at transportation and we're going to discuss metro and subway. So let's dive right into it. Now first thing you have to understand, this is what we classify as rapid transit. Now in this we have basically public transportation, and this whole concept is specifically tailor made for urban areas. Basically it's not like a bus system where even a small village can afford it or small town can easily afford it. This is something that only densely packed, very high population places can afford it. And not to mention, this is supposed to transport a large amount of people. Now the large I mean is around 500 to 600 people per train minimum. It can go even higher than that, or trains can be much more frequent. So this is big thing. This is not small. This is not like a bus system or tram system. This is bee's knees in terms of mass transport. So why there is a need? Basically think of it this way: whenever you introduce a successful, be mindful, this is a crucial word, successful metro system, you reduce what we call economic welfare loss. Think of it this way: people make a certain amount of money and they have certain amount of time. You cannot work 24 into 7 into 365. You need to sleep. So if your time for sleeping is affected by the fact that you have to go to office that is 2 hours away, that is 2 hours to go, 2 hours to come, then you are removing 4 hours. Now you have to work for a certain amount of hours, like let's say 8 hours, and then 8 plus 4, now you're realizing that you don't have any time. Now that affects economic welfare. Basically if the time is so low that you can't spend any money on, like, going into parks, spending movies, things of that nature, everything suffers. And not to mention you are also angry at that time because nobody loves traffic. So it has a very known, tangible, calculatable effect on economic well-being of a city. So if a city is getting very crowded and there is no, let's say people are not able to move from point A to point B effectively and efficiently, you're gonna suffer, and it is a very noticeable thing. And this also has a catalytic effect. Let's say you built a city, let's say it's a planned city construction, and like country is invested a lot of money. From day one they designed it in such a way that it has a metro system, and it's a well implemented metro system. It allows for much higher density. Basically you can pack a lot more people in a smaller amount of place. Now is it good or bad? It's very good, because this reduces water waste, this reduces electrical consumption, this reduces transportation wastage. So all things combined is a very good idea. So this also allows that. And if you talk about in terms of what kind of land footprint we are talking about, it's very little, relatively speaking. So because buses take the same road as any other, trams also have the same consequences. This, on the other hand, it has completely independent system. For this reason it has very low to negligible land cost. Now, so how does this magic work? Well, think of this way: this is no different than in a train, and many times this is a train. So all they do is what we classify as exclusive right of way. Now railway tracks are that exclusive right of way. Only railway trains can go through railway tracks, and that land is owned by railway. Nobody is going to interfere in that. Metro is like that. If you see some places where they have a specific lane for bus which no other vehicle can go, it's more or less the same. That is why metro can run on time, because it has exclusive right of way. Now to achieve this, now you have to understand, like, land is not infinite. How do you gonna achieve this? They generally build what we call grade separation, things of this nature, basically flyovers or tunnels. This is how they can maintain that right of way. Without this, you simply don't have enough land, or you have to have a metro system that goes around the city where you can find land for cheap. So it's not necessary that all your metro will be grade separated or a tunnel. You can sometimes have, going right, across basically a simple road. You can find some places which has this, but generally it's not a common thing. Now, this is the core reason why metros are so expensive, because trams can utilize your roadway, busways can utilize your normal roadway. These puppies are expensive, and they are so expensive they will make a very high speed train look cheap because of this. And be mindful, it's not like railway also has bridges. This is running on bridges only, like whole distance is bridge, and tunnels are even more expensive. So what are the benefits of this? First, it's an electric railway, so it's a very simple optimality. Like you being electrically driven has a one very crucial advantage. Let's say you are running a bus operation and your city is happy, everybody is happy, but petrol prices go up or diesel prices go up, you have to change the ticket prices, which people will not like. This causes a kind of chaos effect. In this, you can control it because electricity does comes from multiple sources. Generally, it's much more, let's just say, price stabilized. The price of electricity does not fluctuate, and it fluctuates over a very long time. So to give you a context of this, when I was a child, I was paying upwards of 2 rupees per unit of electricity. Now it's 6. Now that's a 3-time price hike, but during that time, petrol has went multiple times up. So for this reason, electrical railways are kind of stable. Then we come to the very interesting part, is that it has ludicrously low per head cost. Let's say you want to use the metro, the amount of money you will pay would be minuscule. Like even a bus is more expensive compared to metro system. Even a monthly pass is cheap, and this really helps large amount of people to use it. This system does not discriminate whether you are CEO or basically clerk. So this low per head cost helps large amount of people to take the advantage of it. Now, in terms of environmental impact, because you have to understand, this is allowing a larger population density to be packed into a small area. What will happen if this system is not there? Flat out nightmare. Let's just say nightmare in terms of carbon emission, in terms of time wasted, in terms of anger management issues. Is just better. The system is just plain better. So these are the pro of it. Like if you want people to live healthy, environment to be healthy, and people to have something that they can afford, this is awesome. Now if everything is so dandy, that means there are some consequences, undeniably. So now the biggest consequence of this is that it's a non-recoverable heavy capital cost. What does that mean? Think of this: with the amount of money a city or what we call municipality invested into building this, that's never coming back. So let's say there is a $100 million spent for making this. Yeah, that's never coming back. Now you might be like, what is that ticket for? If it's never coming back, then why do we have to pay it for ticket? Ticket is only there to run, allow for expansion, allowing for primary reason why we have ticket is simply to maintain operating and maintenance cost. Basically, whatever we have to spend in order to maintain it must come from ticket. So if you ever see your city is being hesitant to like, hey, let's not build a metro here, that would be the core reason for it. That money never comes back. It's not like road or anything like that. It never ever comes back. Hong Kong has some metros that are successful, and their ticket income is 102%. Here's the deal: they have to run like that for a few thousand years to recover the initial cost. Now 102% is pretty awesome. That simply means they can maintain the tracks very efficiently, they can pay their employee, everything is nice and dandy. But be mindful, almost every place else is running on deficit. They basically take away from tax. Now you might be like, okay, if it's that money drain, why do people build it? I already specified, like your city suffers if it's not there, and city will give you a much wider tax bracketing if, let's say, you have a good successful metro. Because of indirect revenue, people can afford this sort of system. Now when you are building this, now this is the final nail in the coffin for metro system, is that you need foresight. Like you need to know where people will be. In India recently, like earlier we had only Delhi and Calcutta. Calcutta was the first. Now after that, many other places also joined in. Now many of them are suffering very serious consequences, be it Bangalore, be it other places like that, simply because the train stops are not lining with the public demand. Basically, people needed train stop here, the train stop is there. Then what's the point? So this needs basically you need to know beforehand, before you build basically metro station, that either people are gonna be there or not. Because many times people are like, let's just move it by 1 kilometer, that area is cheaper and it will reduce the cost. But here's the, nobody wants to go that extra kilometer. Why? They might have a bridge, or they might have a choke point like a congested roadway, or people simply might not want to cross that 1 extra kilometer. Now if you think this is complicated, yes it is. Like it is ludicrously complicated to find a place where to put your metro station. And even in underground situation, you can't just drill everywhere. So this requires a very serious amount of study in terms of population management. On top of that, it's in terms of ridership, the amount of people needs to use this is ludicrously high. Because I already told you, you're never gonna make the money back, that capital cost, but running cost should be recovered. That is also very difficult because it requires thousands and thousands and thousands of people using it per day. So this is the biggest problem in this. Like even if, let's say, you built everything, would you have people in that scale moving every day 24/7? Like not 24/7, but at least during the rush hour from early morning to late night, at least for that long, to have a system where people are moving in large volumes. So you can see this is why you don't see metro everywhere. It's ludicrously expensive. The money is never coming back. Even the running and maintenance cost is also barely recovered. On top of that, you need to know where people are gonna be beforehand, before you build your metro station and all that, which sometimes can be very easy. Other times it could be very difficult. And you need to have thousands and thousands and thousands of people over, using it every day. So that's why many times you will see metro station, hey, I think it's working, people are there, but here's the deal, you may only see 100 of people when they were targeting for thousands of them, and that means they're gonna lose money. Basically, they will not even have enough money to do maintenance. So these are the consequences of it. So this was my small presentation on metro system. I hope you understand why metro is not everywhere. Now I hope you liked it or learned from it. In that case, please leave a like. If you didn't, don't worry about it. You can dislike it. I would urge you to leave a comment on my video. I reply to all of them. And please subscribe, press the bell icon if you're free. And as always, thanks for watching.